Yo, Shalom, call out, y'all, Bashim Yahshua, Shema Kakadash, double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops, brothers in the truth and sincerity, men, women, and children that believe are the 1/3. Yeah, man, been checking out this Ibrahim Travor dude, from one of them, I can't say the name, it's one of them tricky names to pronounce. West African countries, and he basically, reclaiming Africa, really starting under the BRICS. If you really go back to it, it kind of really started with Gaddafi. I mean, you could keep going back, but I'm going to start with Gaddafi. So when the U.S. killed Gaddafi, because Gaddafi planned on reuniting Africa, having a gold-backed currency, the dinar. Don't get it twisted with the Roman denarius, but the dinar. And the West came in there and killed them. Putin and them tried to defend them, but they came too late. So, Putin, it's a political war. So Putin, he sets up I'm behind the wheel. So Putin, he sets up the BRICS. And with the BRICS, South Africa's part of the BRICS. And Russia's a superpower, so they able to provide resources. China also, India, these are booming economies, so they are able to provide resources to Africa to get them on their feet. So Babylon, Trump trying to come in there and say, we'll provide you billions of dollars to build your infrastructure, but you got to break away from the BRICS. And they ain't going for it. They ain't doing it. So the West is losing their grip on the world. And a lot of these African countries is causing a domino effect. With Ghana. Ghana is known as a Gold Coast. Ghana, they taking control of their gold reserve. So a lot of these, West African countries, whatever minerals or resources they produce that the West was robbing, they kicking them out and grabbing control of their resources and trading within their countries and giving limited, promoting jobs, building their economies and giving limited access to their resources to the West. Or if they do, export to them, they charging them more money, which is going to cause prices to go up. So these trade wars, it's bigger than just China. It's like you got the whole world involved. And Europe being the bottomless pit, as the scriptures call it, they don't have, they don't grow resources like that. A lot of things is imported to them, especially like natural gas from Russia and so on. So, hey man, it's going down. So, and it all goes back to the elites, because all wars are banker wars, and that white supremacy thing is over with. And they always gonna push it. You always gonna have racism. The scriptures say Esau kept his anger forever. But as far as on a general public scale, that shit is over with, because the elites want a new world order. And with the new world order, that shit involves everybody. So, on the left-hand side, they building up these other, because they fund both sides. They building up these other countries. And, because at the end of the day, they need the grid bill, the GRAFO. Because the MOTB, the mark of the beast, is to try the whole world. You know what I mean? The whole planet. You shall not be able to buy or sell. Because, you know, it ain't going to be nowhere you could go to escape to. Because they need to digitize all the resources on the planet. So in order to do some shit like that. So you got to look at this from the big picture. You know, like if I got all the, you know, they got to build up Africa and all these other countries. And where Ibrahim Trudeau from, they building this shit up quick, like within 2 years. They got all types of projects going, you know. So, and once these grids is built, they able to link it to the MOTB. So there's nowhere on the planet you could go. There's nowhere on the planet you could go without being, you know, basically gridlocked by the MOTB. You know, so it ain't just about America and the West no more. It's a global thing going on. So they giving these countries infrastructure to build up Africa and these different places. So, hey man, it's going down, you know what I mean, in the spirit. And the West, in this spiritual period, Esau losing his grip, period. But the elites running the show through the left-hand side of the Lord, because the ultimate prophecy is the MOTB. And then you have to, you know what I mean, you know, get everybody on board with the economy, you know what I mean? Because, look, you know, I'm the type motherfucker, if the scriptures say, well, if they oppress you in one city, flee to another. You know what I mean? But if it's a land you could go to where you could vibe without taking the MOTB, you know what I mean? That kind of defeat the hour of temptation. Because it's like, yo, well, we just go over here and like, we can eat and buy and sell and live without having to deal with that shit. We're just going to go over here and live. So, and that's not the scriptures. So, they going to lock all these fucking places down. You know what I mean? They building them up, building a grid. They going to digitize the shit. Ain't going to be nowhere you could go or flee. And they going to lock down the resources, just like they did when they conquered Gad. You know what I mean? They killed the buffalo off, locked down the resources, and killed off the food supply. So Gad was forced to, like, surrender or starve to death. You know what I mean? Especially you got kids and shit. You was forced to surrender. Then they put them in, like, them boarding schools. They clipped their hair, stripped them from their language, stripped them out of their culture. And that's how they conquered Gad. You know what I mean? So they doing that more on a broad scale. They want to conquer the earth resources and put everything on a digital board at what they call a level playing field, you know. And so they backing both sides, you know what I mean? Russia, you know, you got the U.S. and NATO, then you got Russia and the BRICS. And the BRICS is bigger, you know, because NATO originally started out as like the EU, you know, the European Economic Community, which is basically like 10 countries. Then they added more. But if you really check it out, the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is bigger than that, you know? It's bigger than that. Because South Africa is just one country in Africa. So you got all them other African countries, you know, land backing on what Ibrahim Trudeau's doing, which I think that dude's a Jake, because that part of West Africa, a lot of Levites, he probably definitely be Levi. The French conquered that area, but like doing like that, going down from like Angola to the Ivory Coast and all that, a lot of Levi was up in there, you know what I mean? Still is, you know what I mean? because they took them from there, brought them over to like the French Quarter and down to Haiti, because the French had, you know what I mean, different strongholds on various parts. And the Lord put the spirit on the Edomite French to conquer Levi. And it kind of gets into that history when you get in the book of Hebrews Isms of West Africa by Joseph. I forget his last name, but a good book. But it gets into how the Lord put the spirit on Levi, on the French Edomites to conquer Levi. So, hey man, it's definitely, it's going down. It's going down in the den. It's an old song. But it's going down on the planet Earth as far as prophecy go. You know what I mean? And that MOTB grid is being built. You know what I mean? And ain't gonna be no continent or no city you think you're gonna go where you're gonna be able to buy or sell and dodge the MOTB. You know what I mean? Because that's the point of, testing your faith. But if you got markets and shit where you could go and do without it, like, how is it a faith testing? Like, you got over. You basically saying, like, yeah, I got over on the Lord. You know, I dodged the hour of temptation. I slid through the back door and got in the kingdom type shit. But now it's going to be to try the whole world. And they doing away with the dollar and all of that. So, you know what I mean? So you got Russia and the BRICS. And, the BRICS is more than 5 countries. BRICS. Yeah. The BRICS is more than 5 countries. It's starting out as 5, but trust me, more is going to be added on. Just like with NATO. And of course, that shit gonna go physical. World War III, nukes and all that good stuff. So, hey man, it's a good show. You know what I mean? Hey, we the prophets, men that believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Hey man, just sit back and enjoy the show. You know, the Lord said, be not worried, at these things. Not one hair on your head shall be touched. So, just enjoy the show. Keep the faith. You know what I mean? And watch things unfold. Keep the prayers up. Keep the laws to the best of your ability. Be brotherly to the brotherhood. As the scripture says, love thy neighbor as thyself. And, yeah, man, it's going down. So, we just got to let everything unfold and play out. But with that, we'll close it out. Give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Shalom.